This is Eye of the Storm, a St. John's video series presented by Tri-State Cadillac. The ninth-ranked St. John's Red Storm's winning streak came to an end this week, but they are still in first in the Big East. They have a huge matchup on Sunday against a team that is right behind them, so we're going to break it all down on this edition of Eye of the Storm. And joining me in studio for the breakdown is a great beat writer covering the Johnnies for the New York Post, my guy Zach Brazilla. Zach, what's going on?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing good. Well, Johnnies, they were doing really good. They won 10 in a row, and I know you were excited about that. Everybody's excited about that. New York's been buzzing. Have you felt that? Have you felt the energy around New York with this team right now? Are you feeling a bit of a shift for the passion for college basketball kind of being back with St. John's?
I am. Yeah, I mean, it's been really exciting. Top 10 the first time since the end of the 99-2000 season. First place in the Big East. I mean, a lot of the bracketologists had them as a lock to make the tournament. Yeah, and look, they were going to lose a game eventually. I wrote that the other day. Like, my concern wasn't them losing. It was Deivon Smith now out again, their point guard, and what that does. They don't have a lot of depth. They basically have 6 starters when he's healthy. Without him, it's really now you got 5 main guys, and they need more from that bench. I think they didn't quite have the finishing they've had recently in that Villanova game. Their defense wasn't quite there. So that's one thing to watch is they need a little more from that bench because there's just so much on these starters now.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of that. But I'm going to start with what you just mentioned there, the Villanova game, because, Zach, St. John's, they had won 10 games in a row. Everybody was feeling good about this team before they ran into Villanova. What went wrong for the Johnnies in that game in particular, and what do you think was the biggest factors in them having their first loss, which was a long time? They hadn't lost in over a month. So what were the factors in them losing that game to Villanova?
Yeah, I think Villanova gives them problems because Villanova can play a lineup with 5 guys who all shoot threes. Ruga Poplar, their wing, is an incredibly tough cover. St. John's has not defended him well in either game. You know, that first game at the Guard, remember, it was anyone's game with 5 minutes to go. St. John's closed really well and they won by 12, but that was not a 12-point win. That was a very close game, and you know, Villanova, I mean, made a ton of shots. I mean, shot 52% from the field. Hit a ton of threes. They hit some shots as the shot clock's expiring. Some crazy shots. You know, St. John's has made the big play. They made the winning plays late in a lot of these games. And there were a few rebounds they didn't get to. One led to a Dixon 3. One led to 2 Jordan Longino free throws. And those 2 offensive rebounds Villanova got were kind of the difference in the game. Rick Pitino has said it. You know, those are the rebounds you got to get on the road to win those games. It's kind of the stuff they didn't do last year when they lost a lot of close games. It's the stuff they've done this year. Now, they didn't do it for one day, but I think you also have to remember this. Look, they're playing a desperate team. Villanova basically was like, for their tournament lives, they had to win that game to have any shot. So still a long shot for Villanova to make, but they were a desperate team. They were at home in their building where I think they shoot around 46% from 3. You know, I didn't look at that as a bad loss. I think it was a game St. John's could have won if they played a little better. The ball bounced their way, but nothing I saw really changed my opinion on this team. Now they got a huge game Sunday. They got to win. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, that's what it is. And you're right. They were going to lose a game at some point. They were not going to go undefeated the rest of the way to the national championship, although I understand some people want that. I understand that. Now,
wait, so the sky isn't falling after one loss?
No, the sky is not falling.
Well, that's what I've been told.
That's what you've been told? Oh, man. Yeah. Well, we're here to let you know in Eye of the Storm that the sky is not falling. Zach, I want to ask you this, because Rick Pitino said that this team hasn't even hit their ceiling yet. You don't seem to be really concerned about the Villanova loss, and the sky is not falling there, but what do you think that St. John's can learn from that loss or take from it moving forward that can help them?
Yeah, I think there are a few things. Number one, they didn't play with their typical focus and intensity. You know, the defense wasn't there. They've said it. Now, some of that's Villanova shooting incredibly well, and Villanova presents some mismatch problems for St. John's that most teams don't. But, yeah, it just, you know, for whatever reason, it wasn't quite there. They settled, to me, for too many threes. They took 37 threes. We know it's not a good three-point shooting team. Villanova was packing the paint, kind of daring them. Now, you got to shoot them when you're wide open, but I felt like they took a little too many. One thing they really have to do, they have to get Zuby Ejiofor the ball more. He's taken 5 shots or less the last 3 games. I think it's 7 the last 9. He's taken 7 or fewer. He's got to get the ball more. They become, I think they were a little too ISO heavy in that Villanova game, and they've got to move the ball more, and they've got to get him touches because when he has the ball, good things happen. He's a good passer. He's a really good finisher. Now, some of that's Deivon Smith out, and he's one of their best penetrators, which leads to more opportunities for Ejiofor, but they need him to be more involved than he's been lately on offense.
All right, so those are two things that you can look for if you're St. John's fans. Sky hasn't fallen, but things they can improve upon going forward. Now, a player we've talked a lot about here is R.J. Lewis Jr. He's been fantastic for this team this season. He's been a breakout star for them. He now should be in the conversation for Big East Player of the Year. Do you think he has a legitimate shot to win this award?
He does. Now, games like Sunday are the kind of games that win you this award. Now, he didn't play well against Villanova. He shot 5-13, probably his worst defensive game in a long time. Poplar, as I talked about earlier, really gives RJ problems for whatever reason. His quickness, his athleticism, just RJ has struggled defending him this year. But Sunday's the kind of game, like I don't really think Creighton has anyone who could stay with him. Sunday's the kind of game, you want to win Player of the Year, you go out and you control the game and you leave your impact on the game. I think it's him, it's Ryan Kalkbrenner, the Creighton center, Cam Jones from Marquette, probably the three leading candidates. Kadari Richmond's been awesome now for over a month. He's got a shot too. Now that might actually hurt because St. John's has two candidates. They kind of might cancel each other out a little in the minds of the coaches, but I wouldn't discount Kadari either. The way he's playing, it's 17 points, 10 assists. Against Nova, I thought he played well for the most part outside of a few bad turnovers early in that second half. But yeah, look, definitely have a shot. This is how it goes usually. The team that wins the league usually gets the benefit of that from the coaches. So St. John's wins the league. If they win Sunday, they're in the driver's seat. They have a shot to have the Player of the Year.
And we're going to get into how big that game is on Sunday against Creighton. I want to talk to you about another player, and that's Deivon Smith. You and I have also talked about how huge he is to this team. He's had health concerns. What can you tell the people about his status going forward, whether it's Sunday and beyond, and how badly does this team need him back on the floor to help them get to the goal of what they want to achieve, which is win the Big East?
Yeah, look, I wrote today in today's paper, like, they need to be careful. They need him right. He hasn't been right. He hurt the right shoulder January 11th. It was a bruised shoulder. He missed 3 of 4 games. They bring him back, played 3 games, wasn't really himself, though he showed you kind of glimpses. And then last Sunday in practice, he took a hit, and now he's got some neck pain, and the shoulder's still an issue. So right now, I think if I was them, I would sit him until Marquette. Or until you're clear he's 100%. Patino had said this, until he's 100%, we're not going to play him. We all know college basketball is all about March, and this team needs him to really make a long run in March. Like Creighton game, you have Creighton Sunday, then you go to DePaul, then UConn at home, then you have at Butler, home for Seton Hall. It's a manageable schedule. I know UConn's got nearly back, and that's obviously going to be a tough game, but like one extra loss and maybe a lower seed is worth it for his health because we've seen how good and dynamic he is when he's healthy. He's one of their best three-point shooters. He's the key to their transition. He's a great defensive rebounder for his size. And I think right now the plan, from everything I've heard and been told, that they're going to now, this is it. This is the last chance to get him healthy. March is coming. The regular season finale, Marquette's 3 weeks away. I would not be shocked if we don't see him until then. Maybe a little sooner, maybe the Butler game or Seton Hall if he's really progressing well, but they got to get his shoulder right. Because even the player we saw recently wasn't the guy from before the injury. They need that guy.
Right. He still hasn't looked like that guy.
They need that guy. They need that fearless player, that guy who's going to crash into the boards, who's going to go finish over big guys. Like he's a dynamic player. We've seen it, but he's just not right, and they need to figure out something to get him healthy.
All right, Zach, so it's a big game we got to talk about. On Sunday, St. John's facing Creighton at the Garden. The sky's not falling. We expect another big crowd here on Sunday. What adjustments does St. John's need to make in this game so they can bounce back, get into the win column, and follow up strong after that loss to Villanova?
Yeah, look, they played Creighton once in Omaha New Year's Eve. That was their other league loss, and they struggled offensively. Ryan Kalkbrenner, the Creighton's star centers, he's so good on the interior, blocking shots, rebounding the ball. They really struggled. They kind of tried to go through him instead of around him. Late in that game, they started doing more of that, and they had more success. To me, the biggest thing is Creighton, they don't have great ball handlers. Stephen Ashworth, as great of a player as he is, he struggles against athletic guards. Even though St. John's depth is an issue, I expect them to press from the jump. I think they forced 7 Ashworth turnovers in that first game. That was even really without pressing them. They got to me, you got to get this game up and down. You got to press them. So you make Calipari less of a factor defensively if this is up and down. You know, that's one thing. You know, I think he's gonna play more guys. I think you're gonna see the Greek kid left Harris Leotopoulos, who's a big time shooter, hasn't played a ton. He's kind of he struggles defensively, but he can make shots. You saw it. He came in Villanova, hit a big 3. I think he's gonna play more in this game on Sunday. You might see more of Vince Iwuchukwu to deal with Calipari, Ruben Prey, but it's about defense. And to me, you can really get to Creighton by forcing turnovers, and I think St. John's that's the key to this game. You press them as much as you can. I know the depth isn't there, but I still think the key to this game is pressing them, getting it up and down in transition. And I really don't think Creighton has anyone who can really deal with Kadari Richmond and R.J. Lewis. These two guys need to really make hay in transition, in the mid range, and the key is don't go at, the first game they tried to go too much at Calipari instead of kind of drawing him out and going around him. Late in that game they started doing that, and I think you're going to see more of that.
All right, we'll see if those keys hold up for the Johnnies. That'll be a huge win for them on Sunday. As Zach said, it put them right back in control to win the Big East. Last thing for me, Zach, we've talked about this previously, whether or not St. John's could win the Big East, right? We've talked about that. But now, okay, this is sky not falling. Fans starting to dream a little bit more, right? And they start thinking about, can this team legitimately make a long run in March deep into the NCAA tournament? Is that something you see as possible now with the way that this team has been playing?
Yeah, look, they're 21-4. I mean, they're 12-2 in the league. They're a legit good team. There's no question about that. It's a lot of it is matchup based, no question about that. But yeah, I mean, they have 3 big games left. You have the Creighton game Sunday, UConn at the Garden, and then they go to Marquette. If you can get 2 of those 3, I think you're in good shape to get a 4 seed. And you get a 4 seed, and you have a really good shot to make the Sweet 16, which is something this program hasn't done since the 98-99 season. Sunday is a huge game. You win Sunday, you're 2 games up in the league over the other 3, Marquette, Creighton, and UConn, with 5 games to go, and you still have 3 of the weaker teams in the league. You lose Sunday, and it becomes a lot more tenuous because Creighton would have the tiebreaker with the head-to-head, and you still have tough games left. But Sunday is just an essential game to win if you want to win this league, and also is a big game to win for seeding. You got to take care of your home court here. They haven't lost at home all year. I think Sunday's going to be a great crowd. It might even be a sellout. The Garden's going to be jumping. This is a mammoth game, but I think they should win.
All right, we will see if the Johnnies can do it. And look, some optimism. Johnnies might be able to make a long, deep NCAA tournament run, which would be very intriguing. And we talked about the fans being excited. They'll be even more excited if that happens, but we'll see. That does it for this edition of Eye of the Storm. That's my guy, Zach Basile. He's going to be there on Sunday covering the team well there and beyond. Zach, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, my pleasure.
All right.